Tonight's headlines: U.S. forces policing a very dangerous Iraq are ordered to stay longer. Millions of U.S. taxpayers won't get the rebate they're expecting. Also tonight, investors in search of high returns trusted their life savings to this company. What happened next is tonight's Eye on America. They're not just for fun. Some video games may improve your visual skills. And celebrating the centennial of an American institution. 100 years of Bob Hope.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
Good evening. Dan is on assignment. I'm Jane Clayson. 4 weeks after President Bush declared major combat operations in Iraq over, yet another American soldier was killed today in an ambush north of Baghdad. American forces are coming under attack almost daily. And now, with violence still out of control, the word has gone out that fewer U.S. troops will be coming home anytime soon. CBS's David Hawkins reports from Baghdad, where the streets remain very dangerous for soldiers and civilians alike.
Fuses are short following a spate of attacks on American soldiers here. At least 9 have been killed so far this week. In Baghdad, a night patrol strictly enforces the 11 p.m. curfew. It's just after 11:30. The Iraqis complain that they heard on the radio the curfew had been pushed back to 1 a.m.
Yep, it's your car. Right.
But it doesn't do them any good.
Okay, thank you. You walk.
Although a lot of Iraqis are happy to have the Americans hanging around, most are also frustrated or angry. Some by the soldiers' slow progress in restoring order, others by the fact that they're still here.
I heard you learned how to ride your bike without training wheels, too.
Many of the U.S. soldiers who fought and won the war had hoped they'd be long gone by now, too.
I just got to talk to my daughter on the phone. She was in tears, I was in tears. I'm ready to go home.
The soldiers of the 3rd Infantry Division fought their way into Baghdad more than 6 weeks ago, but some of them have been away from home for more than 6 months. Their replacements from the 1st Armored Division have been told they'll be here a year. Elements of the 3rd Infantry Division are leaving Baghdad, but they're not going home. They're headed to Fallujah, where 2 U.S. soldiers were killed in an ambush on Tuesday. It's an anti-American hotspot and a pro-Saddam stronghold.
We will apply all the necessary combat power to make sure that that opposition is removed.
While it took far fewer troops than many thought necessary to win the war, it's taking a lot more soldiers than the Pentagon planned for to keep the peace. David Hawkins, CBS News, Baghdad.
The man in charge of keeping the peace is General William Wallace, the top U.S. Army commander in Iraq. He told CBS News correspondent David Martin today about the challenge his forces are now facing.
After a morning of briefings, General Wallace sat down for an interview with CBS News in which he said the battle against diehard Saddam supporters is turning into urban guerrilla warfare.
Today we're dealing with an enemy that seems to be falling into the population, taking advantage of his ability to meld into the population.
Besides defeating the enemy, Wallace must also protect Iraqis from themselves.
Sir, this is General Mack.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
At a Baghdad police station, he met with the chief of police to go over a plan to turn the streets back to the Iraqi police in 90 days. Letting the American MPs go home in August. Then he went out for a reality check on the streets of Baghdad.
You got to be different from most people walking the streets of Baghdad. This is your problem.
Well, that's true. That's true. And if it wasn't my problem, I wouldn't be walking the streets of Baghdad trying to get a reality check on the problem.
At a row of shops where the only reliable electricity comes from a sidewalk generator, he got an earful.
The house is so hot that we need to sleep in the roof, but we can't go to the roof because people start, firing, and we end up going back inside the house. Even the taxi cabs, when they take in their customs, they have to check them, make sure they don't have no weapon.
Wallace himself is not safe on these streets since he is a prime target for any lurking Saddam supporter.
Are you worried about your security out here?
But I can't command these soldiers unless I'm willing to take the same risks that they do.
You feel safer walking these streets today than you did that first walk?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. No question about it.
That first walk was days after the war ended, and Wallace needed a bodyguard not of soldiers, but of tanks and armored vehicles. That is how progress is measured in Baghdad. David Martin, CBS News, Baghdad.
President Bush leaves tomorrow on a trip to Europe and the Middle East. In Jordan next week, he'll attend a first-of-its-kind peace summit with the prime ministers of Israel and the Palestinians, who held preliminary talks tonight in Jerusalem. At that meeting, Israel's Ariel Sharon demanded again that the Palestinians crack down on terrorists. But Richard Roth reports on the toughest issues, neither side yet seems willing to budge.
Aggressive security like this is what Israel's demanding from the Palestinians. But this is only practice by a Palestinian anti-terror squad in training. The men are unarmed. If they carried guns, says one, they're sure they'd be shot by Israeli troops who control every access point to this town. Israel said it will withdraw its troops from Palestinian towns if Palestinian authorities are prepared to enforce security. This is supposed to demonstrate they have the ability to do that. But the Palestinian responsible for West Bank security says he's not ready to implement it.
Why should we do this? Why should I do this?
I thought it was your responsibility.
It might be my responsibility when I have the sovereignty.
When you have sovereignty.
Yeah.
Yet just hours before Palestinian Prime Minister Mahmoud Abbas met tonight with Israel's Ariel Sharon, a handful of Israelis was claiming sovereignty on a new patch of the West Bank. Sharon's government did nothing to discourage the newest settlers, and some Israelis say that's no surprise.
He cherishes them. You know, he tells them, you're the best of the best. You're the cream de la cream. And now he's going to tell them, you have to leave your houses.
Will he?
I doubt it.
The roadmap that requires Palestinians to stop terror obliges Israel to stop expanding settlements. But so far, neither side's delivered more than a show of good intentions. Richard Roth, CBS News, Ramallah.
In this country, sources tell CBS News the Department of Homeland Security may soon lower the terror threat level, possibly as early as tomorrow. It was raised last week to orange, meaning a high risk for a terror attack. It would be lowered to yellow, meaning an elevated risk. Now to taxes and the economy. In a new CBS News poll, less than a third of those surveyed favored tax cuts as a way to improve the economy, while more than half support reducing the federal deficit. And as Bill Plant reports from the White House, it turns out the tax cut the president just signed will not help many who need help the most.
Carlicia Remy earns just above the minimum wage, the kind of taxpayer the president says he wants to help. But she won't be getting that refund check the president says is in the mail. An 11th hour change in the tax bill prevents millions of low-income working Americans like Remy from receiving an extra $400 child tax credit.
I definitely could have used the money for rent, for food, for Pampers.
Remy is one of millions of taxpayers who are not eligible for the additional child tax credit because tax writers, looking for ways to keep the tax bill from going higher than $350 billion, dropped a proposal to raise the amount of money which could be refunded to low-income earners. As a result, families with higher incomes up to $110,000 will get the increased child tax credit. But many families with incomes between about $10,500 and $26,600 will get nothing.
We were very disappointed that there's room in this tax cut to give $1,000 to all but these families, when the vast majority of these families go to work every day and are playing by the rules.
The Center on Budget and Policy Priorities estimates that there are 12 million children who would have benefited from an increased refund. The White House concedes there are low-income families who won't benefit, but argues that it wasn't the president's fault.
Well, as the president said, he doesn't get everything that he wants, and if this provision had been included, the president would have signed it.
Carlicia Remy doesn't care who's to blame.
I just think it's ridiculous. I can't believe that they would give money to the rich when the poor need so much. I can't understand it.
But the White House, in addition to passing the buck to Congress, also points out that many of the families who will miss out on the $400 child tax credit already pay little or no income tax. Jane?
Bill Plant at the White House. Bill, thanks. Coming up next on the CBS Evening News, talk of betrayal as trusting investors see their life savings and their dreams disappear.
We do several hundred septic system repairs a year. If your septic system fails, you're going to run into several problems. It will either back up into the yard, into the house. I would recommend you use Rid-X once a month. It is cheaper to maintain your septic system, a lot cheaper.
In the old days, athlete's foot meant using Lotrimin AF or Tenactin for 4 whole weeks.
Who does that? Today, Lamisil AT kills the fungus with just 1 week's use.
And keeps you athlete's foot free for 3 months.
Lamisil AT. There's no better way to cure athlete's foot.
Great. Hi. Okay, got the hors d'oeuvres happening. You want something to eat?
Really glad we came. I wonder if Deb is here.
Hey, wow. Don't these look yummy? I made them myself. You just have to try one. It'll give you heartburn so bad it'll melt the buttons right off your shirt.
It's different for people with acid reflux disease.
And all that acid reflux may have puckered the lining of your esophagus.
You should ask your doctor about the purple pill called Nexium.
And these are sure to send you home early.
For many people, with 1 prescription Nexium daily, heartburn goes away and stays away.
And could keep you up all night.
And Nexium Relief goes deeper to heal erosions in the esophagus acid reflux can cause. So you don't just feel better, you are better. Other serious stomach conditions may still exist. Talk to your doctor. Nexium has a low occurrence of side effects, including headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. Don't let acid reflux spoil the party.
Dip?
Relief, healing, Nexium.
Oh, look, it's the guy who falls. Fall now.
Oh, I don't really do that anymore. It's not like I got that insurance.
What insurance?
Aflac.
They pay you cash if you can't work when you get hurt. Not that I ever do. Aisle 5 under lingerie.
Price check.
Aflac. Ask about it at work.
Aflac.
You know what I love, Pollen? Allergy medicines that don't last very long.
Yeah, ragweed. They make it easy to make them suffer.
One dose of most allergy medicines doesn't work as long as you want, but just one Allegra 180 lasts up to 4 times longer than most OTC allergy medicines.
Allegra just made life as an allergen tougher.
For people 12 and over, side effects are low and may include headache, cold, or back pain. For your seasonal allergy symptoms, ask your doctor about Allegra.
So when does our Allegra quit working?
Maybe when allergy season's over?
Allegra, the relief goes on.
Mortgage rates fell again this week to a record low 5.31%. Low interest rates are good for borrowers, but not for savers. So people in one South Carolina community jumped at the high returns promised by a trusted, homegrown institution. But their trust was misplaced and their life savings lost, as Mika Brzezinski reports in tonight's Eye on America.
In Pickens County, South Carolina, this company was king.
We felt our money was safe.
4 branches and almost 40 years in business, the mortgage lending company was a place where people here could grow their money faster than at the local bank. Carolina Investors was a cornerstone in the community, and its CEO, a hometown hero.
We knew Earl Morris personally.
Earl Morris Jr. was the former state controller, the former lieutenant governor, even had a highway named after him. He knew how to handle money.
Nobody's going to lose money.
So when word spread that the company was in trouble, it was Earl Morris who personally assured investors,
Thank the Lord, thank the Lord.
their money was safe.
We are not going into bankruptcy.
But days later, that's just what happened. On April 9th, Carolina Investors filed for Chapter 11, and 8,000 investors were wiped out. How much money did you lose, Magdalene?
Over $36,000. We lost a little over $200,000.
I lost 90% of our life savings.
Lost $160,000.
A substantial amount.
Can you give me a job, somebody?
How many of you lost your savings in Carolina Investors? It was a devastating blow to the people of Pickens.
We'll sell all the plant material.
Selling everything.
Mm-hmm.
Larry Madden is now selling off his business just to get by. When his daughter Carrie was hit by a drunk driver, he needed to pay off a mountain of medical bills. So he put all of his money into Carolina Investors, where the return consistently had been 8%. He's now 100% broke. So to face your wife and family and say we have to start over, what was that like?
It was hard, very hard.
In fact, more than half of the people of Pickens lost some or all of their money in Carolina investors. Total losses, $275 million.
Which that's over $250 million with a B that's taken out of a small community.
With abandoned mills and more businesses due to shut down, it was the last thing this little town needed. It's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough, no question about it.
Tough also to find out who's to blame. Every bankruptcy hearing draws a huge crowd, but few answers. Is there any hope for the people behind you who some have lost everything to get money back?
I certainly hope so. Yes, I believe that there is hope for them to get some money back. How much remains to be seen.
Attorneys for Earl Morris say he didn't lose the money and suggest investors look to the company that bought Carolina investors and to this man. What happened to their money? Where is it? Is it gone? The search for the money and what happened to it tomorrow. In Pickens, South Carolina, I'm Mika Brzezinski for Eye on America.
Coming up next on the CBS Evening News, a proposed change in media ownership rules could change what you see on TV.
Millie lost $500,000 when this mortgage company folded. So where's her money? Maybe the former CEO knows. Eye on America tomorrow on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
That was me. My achy joints made it hard for me to get around, so I tried OsteoBiflex. It safely lubricates joints and rebuilds cartilage, so over time, you're more flexible and comfortable. OsteoBiflex, put some life back in your joints.
A few years ago, I get this pain. It's no big whoop, just a little heartburn. Yeah, a burning, piercing fireball right here. So I cut down on the foods that bother me. I change my diet. I work out. Even my mom tries to help.
Son, try sleeping on an incline.
So I slipped some 2x4s under my bed. Oh yeah, my wife really loved that one. Then I started drinking that chalky stuff, popping acid reducers, and it all helped, but the pain keeps coming back 2-3 days a week. Okay, finally visit my doctor. He says it's acid reflux disease and prescribes Prevacid to help prevent the acid and heal the damage. So I take it like he says, and guess what? It really helps stop the acid pain. How's that for a happy ending?
Prescription Prevacid actually helps prevent acid where it starts by turning off many of the pumps that produce it. Prevacid has a low occurrence of side effects such as diarrhea, abdominal pain, and nausea. Other serious stomach conditions may still exist. Ask your doctor for more information and if Prevacid is right for you. Help prevent the acid with Prevacid.
New Lemon Twist V8 juice has a refreshing squeeze of lemon. It's another way to get your full serving of vegetables. Sometimes it's the only way. New Lemon Twist V8.
What you should know about smoke and fire alarm sensing technologies from the makers of First Alert products. Certain sensing technologies react differently to certain types of fires. Photoelectric sensing technology is generally more sensitive at detecting smoldering fires, while ionization sensing technology is generally more sensitive at detecting flaming fires. Protect your family with both sensing technologies, either separately or in a dual sensing alarm for the maximum in fire safety protection. Learn more at firstalert.com. Family first, safety always.
Every day for thousands of years, Old Faithful has been, well, faithful. You can almost set your watch by it.
What causes it to stay so regular?
Stay regular with Metamucil Daily Fiber Therapy. It works with you, naturally.
We just can't say.
Get regular, stay regular. The natural way. Now available in powder, wafers, and capsules.
The FCC will decide on Monday whether to ease restrictions on the number of TV stations any single company may own. With big money at stake, media giants, including Viacom, the parent company of CBS News, have been lobbying the FCC to do this. But as CBS News correspondent Wyatt Andrews reports, critics say easing the restrictions could have a negative impact on local TV news.
America back on high alert for terrorism tonight.
Take a quick look around.
Are you on your way back to Burbank?
This bustling LA newsroom, and it's hard to see the threat to American democracy.
Remember what they there with you now.
The threat, some critics say, comes from giant media ownership. Last year, Viacom, the company that owns CBS and CBS News, merged the news departments at its two Los Angeles TV stations, KCBS and KCAL. It isn't alone. NBC is also merging its local news operations in LA, as is Fox.
We lose something. We lose different points of view.
Gene Kimmelman from Consumers Union calls the mergers a hint of what could happen if the FCC relaxes the rules on media ownership. The key changes would allow one company to own 3 TV stations in America's largest cities, 2 TV stations in many other cities, and would raise the total number of stations a single company could own. In more places, one company could also own a TV station plus a newspaper. Here is the concern. If the biggest media companies in America buy up more local television stations, they could also merge the local news. Fewer and fewer companies would then be in charge of the content and the quality of the news.
Citizens lose that ability to choose, that variety and diversity of points of view. That's what democracy is all about.
The networks, including Viacom, are behind the rule changes.
It's just time to decide.
But so is FCC Chairman Michael Powell. Powell says the current ownership rules, some written in the 40s, protected the public when only 3 TV networks ruled the air.
I am the king in my castle.
But are outdated, he says, in this era of cable and satellite.
86% of Americans now watch cable television with upwards of 60 to 100 to 200 to 500 channels. I can push that button and move from the ABC-controlled product to a product owned by an independent company if I choose.
Now, let's switch back to L.A.
But this is all both Channel 2 and Channel 9.
Yes.
Where news director Nancy Gonzalez argues that after the merger, both stations got better.
We have more crews, we have more editors, we have more writers than either station ever had.
But even if she's right, watch this glimpse of the media future. Watch as reporter Laura McLaughlin files a report for Channel 9 and later refiles the report for Channel 2.
We get those winds kicking up as...
You can change the channel in LA, but sometimes find the content, people, and the owners will be the same. Wyatt Andrews, CBS News, Los Angeles.
As Wyatt said, the original FCC rules date back to long before a new use would be discovered for the television set: video games. The games have been accused of making children who play them more violent, but now a new study finds video games can also have a positive impact. Action video games like Grand Theft Auto and Counter-Strike. Researchers at the University of Rochester found that young adults who play them are 30 to 50% more aware of what's happening around them in the real world. The games in which players take aim at moving targets seem to increase the ability of the brain to identify objects, to change the focus of attention rapidly, and to track many items at the same time. The study suggests these visual skills could make video game players better drivers. The video games might also be used as therapy for stroke victims. The benefits come from the more violent video games involving attacks on a target. Other types of action games, which focus more on strategy or role-playing, don't develop the same visual skills. Coming up next on the CBS Evening News, 100 Years of Memories. And you can thank Bob Hope.
The 2003 Chevy Trailblazer and Trailblazer EXT. You can take them just about anywhere with confidence, inside and out. Now, get 0% APR for 60 months on every 2003 Chevy Trailblazer and Trailblazer EXT. See your local Chevy dealer today.
It started on Bartlett Street in Brooklyn 154 years ago, an original American company. And today, Pfizer is still discovering and developing new medicines. Pfizer was there in World War II with a breakthrough in penicillin production when no one else could make enough penicillin for our soldiers. Today, Pfizer still leads the way in antibiotics, and new Pfizer medicines treat diabetes, manage depression, and ease arthritis pain.
Now, Pfizer's meeting another great challenge, helping people in need get the medicines they need. Programs like the Pfizer for Living Share Card can help seniors in need get a Pfizer prescription for only $15 a month. And where do many of these medicines come from? Right here on Bartlett Street, where Pfizer started over 150 years ago.
Meeting humanity's greatest challenges That's the heritage of an original American company called Pfizer.
I remember when the doctors told us, it felt like our entire future got compressed into just a year. But we found out that we could get money ahead of time from Jim's insurance. We paid off the house and we set up trust funds for the kids. We took a vacation. That was a trip of a lifetime.
Insurance from Mutual of Omaha. For what really matters in life. Begin today.
I don't have the greatest soil here, and the topsoil you buy isn't much better. But this is Miracle Grow Garden Soil. Premium organic materials plus Miracle Grow plant food mixed in. Look at the difference it makes. Amazing.
I love broccoli, peppers, garbanzos.
So why didn't you get any?
I'm worried they'll give me gas.
Ever try Beano? You take it before you eat to help prevent gas.
You take Beano?
Are you kidding? Take Beano before, and there'll be no gas.
It's an amazing story of fear, survival, and eventually escape. Two Dixon County men tell us how they got away from a jail escapee tonight on News Channel 5 at 6.
You've probably heard by now, Bob Hope turned 100 today, celebrating quietly at his suburban Los Angeles home. In Hollywood, a public commemoration, the corner of Hollywood and Vine was renamed Bob Hope Square. Overhead, vintage World War II planes saluted the only man that Congress has ever named an honorary U.S. veteran. Richard Schlesinger reports on a century of hope.
All right, let's hear it for him, Bob Hope.
Think about it. When Bob Hope was born 100 years ago, he predated the four major institutions that made him a star: radio, television, movies, and world wars.
Some moon.
Some moon.
Some bench.
Some bench.
Some grass.
Some grass.
Some dew.
I don't.
It was World War II that provided the first stages for his trademark USO shows.
Nice to be here, Don Kane. Ootapau. Kodiak. I don't know where the hell we are, but I'm happy.
And he visited U.S. troops in almost every major conflict of the 20th century.
No, I have real good news for you. I want to tell you guys the country's behind you 50%.
The shows were a little theater of the absurd in the theater of operations.
You know, this isn't such a bad part. What the hell is all that firing over there? General, will you call off this war while we're on, please? I just want you boys to see what you're fighting for, that's all.
Back then, Patty Thomas was part of the show. Now she's part of the 100th birthday celebration.
He made them happy. He made them laugh. Made them laugh so hard they were crying, some of them.
Mini skirts are bigger than ever. Even some of the fellas are wearing them. Don't laugh. If you'd have thought of it, you wouldn't be here.
Hope hasn't been seen in public much since June of 2000, when he was in the hospital and very frail. Now, his friends and family do most of the talking for him.
Not many people that get to be 100 and have had the kind of life that he's had.
He didn't smoke, he didn't drink. I mean, he may live another 100.
Bob Hope always wanted to outlive his grandfather, who died shortly before his 100th birthday. It's taken him a century to do it, but today he finally reached his goal. Richard Schlesinger, CBS News, New York.
And that is the CBS Evening News. For Dan Rather, I'm Jane Clayson in New York. Thanks for joining us. Good night.
For news 24 hours a day, log on to cbsnews.com. Millie's $500,000 gone? Eye on America investigates tomorrow. Experience CBS.
From your news and information leader. This is News Channel 5 at 6.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Scott Couch. Chris Clark is off tonight. Topping our news, a remarkable tale of survival.
Two Dixon County men kidnapped by a jail escapee and driven to the other end of the state are talking about their ordeal. A father and son who feared for their lives tell News Channel 5's Nick Barris how they managed to get away.
61-year-old Doy Taft admits he's got a bad ticker.
I'm not in good health. I've got a heart condition.
He works in his wood shop with his son Randall and tries to avoid excitement, but there was no avoiding it Wednesday when an escaped convict walked in.
It scared the heck out of me. I'll tell you what I think. I was looking down the barrel of that great big gun.
Dennis Palmer had overpowered a Dixon County deputy and taken his gun. With police hot on his tail, Palmer ducked into Doy's workshop.
We thought that he was delivering something, that we was getting a delivery of something. So when we come over here to talk to him,